Now go.
So again, the goals for this weekend or this Saturday is to get you to have a lot of fun for starters and be able to start to explore how you move in a tuck. All right, how we move in gliding, speed, how we get comfortable on the snow at faster rates of speed and also in the air. We're going to use pole jumpers, a combination of a phantom jump and a knuckle or a roll jump to help facilitate movement in the air. Okay. We're going to have a glide track, open turn shape, a radar gun track, so you can see how fast you're going and try to beat your time, or speed, I should say, over and over. And the rest of today or the weekend, it will be how we start to work through yellow flags, appropriate stopping techniques, which we've talked about already. All right, and primarily how we move in and out of the tuck and also in the air. We've talked about, we'll review again, the low tuck, the bullet, the most aerodynamic position. The high tuck, also aerodynamic, but it catches a little bit more wind, but allows us much greater movement so we can create better turn shape. How do we move in and out of a tuck? Some of the jump prep, movement in the air, and then landing. Excuse me. As we talked about the tuck, it's the posture we assume when we're skiing, right? It's the most aerodynamic, it's low. It's great for when we're running on the flats or turning on very gradual flat terrain. But being aerodynamic in the tuck, although has the least amount of wind resistance, doesn't allow us to make the greatest amount of high angle or high speed turns. It's very difficult to carve clean turns all the time when we're in a low and sometimes even a high tuck. As we talked about it, knees are always, ankles are flexed, knees are always over the toes. Our belly and our chest are nearly touching the tops of our legs. Our elbows are out in front. Hands are close together, blocking as much wind as possible. The high tuck is really just the extension of our legs. Ankles are still flexed, so our knees are up and over the knees, okay? But the body's able to move a little bit more underneath us. Some of that upper and lower body separation. We still have a nice rounded spine. Elbows are in front. Wrists are together, a little bit closer to the jaw, and we're trying to just cover our throat and our chin. Here's a good example again, if everybody can still see the video, yeah? Of moving in and out. Ankles are flexed, knees are over the toes. We come out, block that wind, come back down. Rounding in the spine. Flex position, call this chewing on the gloves. So we're blocking all that wind. Again, here's myself today in my 3D motion capture lab. And so what we can start to see is low aggressive tuck. We can see how flexed the ankles are. These knees, if I was to draw a straight line up and down, are over the toes. Spine is rounded. Elbows are out in front of the knees, blocking the wind. So from here, we can see a nice bullet position, low profile against the wind. As we look at the front view, we can start to see that there's not a whole lot of room for air to move and hit me in the chest, the thighs, or the belly to slow me down. As we come into a high tuck, we see that the position is more elongated. There's more room for my legs to move underneath me, absorb terrain, create better edge angles. We can see that the knees are still in front of and over the toes. Spine is still rounded in that same shape. Elbows are still in front of the knees, and the hands are out in front, blocking that wind. And so although there's more room for wind in through here, okay, in through the belly, we can see that there's still a very controlled profile in through here of keeping wind out and maintaining good aerodynamics. Does anybody have any questions on that? You do, Kate? You're muted. You can unmute if you need.
I'm double tapped right now. Sorry. I'm going back and forth. That looks great though, too.
No worries. As we start to take a look at ball jumpers, we're remaining in our nice high tuck. All right, the legs are moving up from underneath us. We flex the ankles, we come up off of the snow surface. the tips of those skis are still getting pressed ever so slightly down into the snow. The skis are coming up nice and flat, and the tips of are coming down and meeting the snow surface first. So we are starting to move. Notice how the skis are relatively flat on pickup. We don't see the tips raising and the tails being driven down into the snow. The skis are relatively flat on takeoff. Tips of the snow skis are being pressed back into the snow as we move forward across that ski. What we really want to use is our mass across the entire length of that ski, from tip all the way back through the boot center. Upper body's nice and quiet, not using the arms, the chest, or the shoulders to try to get the body to come off of the snow. It's all coming from the lower legs. Similarly, as we take a look at the wave track, we have the same sort of movement pattern occurring. Spine is nice and round, elbows are out in front of the knees are over the toes. And as we start to watch the move, as we start to absorb and press, we can see it almost moves from a high tuck to a low tuck. That last roller was a little aggressive, and so you saw a bigger move. But this is extension and flexion and absorption. The legs are moving underneath the body. The upper body is not moving a whole lot. This last roller is pretty aggressive, and so you can see how the skis came off the snow ever so slightly, similar to the pole jumpers, but a good press and push was made to bring those ski tips down and match the contour. Dynamic jump movement. We talked about that jump rope concept. We don't want to see big moves from the hands or the arms. I want to see them move forward and down, almost as if we're taking a jump rope and just trying to flick it over the tips of our skis and then drag it all the way back to our ski boot tops. All right. This is a little aggressive. He opens up a little too wide to catch too much wind, but the movement is pressing forward and down to the boot tops. Okay. Extending the legs, coming back and trying to meet a nice soft landing on the snow surface. Notice how he stands up, makes a couple of turns, and then glides himself to a stop, which is what we talked about in stopping technique for speed. This is a U14 from last month at Winter for Kids for the U14 flight camp project prior to us going to Bel Air for U14 States for Super G, which was an incredible event. We can start to see that the prep getting ready to come up, pressing forward, moving with terrain, reaching for the tip of those skis, ending at the boot tops, extending the legs for a soft landing, and coming to a controlled move. Another U14 from Winter for Kids. And then this is just a very good view of that same takeoff position. As soon as they start to get light, reach for those ski tips, hands are then coming back to the boot tops. And this is the position that he maintained as he extended his legs through the landing and continued from there. Stopping techniques. This is Andrew Weibrecht again from the Olympics in Vancouver. Slowly coming to a stop. No big hockey stops. Nice elongated glide. All right. Any other questions? All right, let's see here. It looks like there's 3 questions that were in this chat box, maybe. Nope, just big thank yous. All right. Anybody else have any questions? No? All right. Well, thank you very much. Like I said, this is being recorded. We will send this out. And thank you very much. And we'll see you on Saturday. Cheers.